So I just cried for like an hour over the Jeffree Star Shane Dawson palette reveal. So if we can like forget how crazy I probably look right now, that would be great, thanks. Hi friends, it's Rory and today is my first monthly wrap-up. My wrap-up for October. I cannot believe it's been like a month since I made my booktube channel and this is my first wrap-up and I'm really excited. Sorry guys, I'm just like full of a whole bunch of energy. I just watched the Jeffree Star Shane Dawson palette reveal and just like that's why I'm standing up, because I literally have so much nervous energy right now. So I read 5 books this month, which I think is amazing seeing as how busy I was. I had an increase in my workload. I had to finish 4 Halloween costumes for my nieces and nephews, and I nope, that's it. Also, I know that I said that I finished 5 that I'm gonna count. The reason is because I actually finished 3 children's books, but I'm not gonna count that in my regular reading, like monthly reading count, because I did it specifically for a video where I'm going to be reading children's books that I loved as a or not even just children's books that I loved when I was younger, like in elementary school, middle school, and high school, and then I'm gonna review them and see if I still like them, and also if I would like my nieces and nephews to read them. But I'm not including those in my main count because they took me like an hour and a half to read all 3 of them, and I really don't feel comfortable adding them to my read count for my, reading goal of the year. I don't know why, it's just really weird. I'm just like, I don't want to. So let's get started, and I'm gonna go in order of the books that I read. So the first book I read this month was The Trials of Apollo, The Tyrant's Tomb, which is the 4th Trials of Apollo book by Rick Riordan. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, which is honestly the lowest Trials of Apollo rating that I've given, just so everyone is Gucci and 100% on the same page. I am in love with Rick Riordan books. I think he writes perfect children's books that adults can also enjoy, and I've been reading him since I was a wee child with the Percy Jackson series, but the Trials of Apollo series has kind of become my favorite because I'm in love with Apollo. That being said, this is the lowest rating that I did, and I don't even know how to explain why I gave it a 3. I just felt it in my heart that it deserved a 3. Cause like, it wasn't boring. It wasn't like slow. In fact, it was very fast-paced the entire time. Like the entire story takes place over like 3 in-universe days. But like, I wasn't as engaged in it as I normally am. So in the end, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. That being said, I'm so excited for the 5th book because everything is gonna explode in my face. And am I absolutely worried about it? Yes. Am I excited and hopeful that all of my faves will be in the same book? Yes. Anyways, so that was the first book that I read. And now it's time for the next one, which is gonna be me being a hot mess. So the second book that I read in the month was Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. This book, guys. So I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This book means a lot to me, and I know that I've only read it in the past month, but like, let me tell you, when I cried so hard reading this book that I thought I was having a panic attack because I couldn't catch my breath, and the only time that ever really happens to me is when I'm having a panic attack. So my brain was just like, oh, you're having a panic attack, but I wasn't. I was just so emotional over this book. So if you don't know what this book is about, it's about a girl named Mara who one day her best friend Hannah, who's dating her twin brother Owen, admits that she was raped by him, and she has to kind of figure out what that means for like her relationship with her brother, her relationship with her best friend. And at the same time, she's also dealing with the fact that she broke up with her girlfriend, Charlie, and she's dealing with the fact that that relationship has ended and they're trying to still be friends. And along with the whole situation, it brings up a bunch of old memories of a painful time that she went through, and she has to kind of like figure out what to do in that situation. Like I said, I cried so hard at this book. It feels very personal. This is a book that like, it means a lot to me. And the reason why is because it feels very personal. I know that I've talked in a couple of videos about like feeling personally attached and like validated by a character, and Mara was really that for me. Like, she quickly got added to the list of characters that I identify with, and that's why it was so hard to read this book. That being said, this is a library copy. I'm going to be buying a regular copy of this, and I immediately texted two of my best friends and was like, this book emotionally destroyed me, you should read it. Anyways, like I said, gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, I really, really recommend it. But be careful because, as you can probably tell from the description, it is very heavy. And if you don't feel you can handle that, I totally understand. Okay, now we're gonna get into the 2 books that I read during Spookathon. Now, my last video, I talked about how I only finished 2 Spookathon books, and these are the 2. So the first book that I finished during Spookathon was The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried, I also gave 3 stars. It is the story of Dino. Just pause. I said Dino during my entire Spookathon TBR, and then when I listened to the audiobook and I realized it was pronounced Dino, I was really embarrassed. Whatever. But the story is about Dino, whose family runs a morgue and funeral home, whose family runs a funeral home, and his ex-best friend July recently died, and while he is working on doing her makeup for her funeral the next day, she just randomly comes back to life, except she's not really alive. Like, she's still dead, but she's like awake and present and talking and moving, and the 2 of them have to figure out what happened, why is she like this, and at the same time they're kind of processing why their friendship ended. Really the only word I can say about this book is cute. It's not that it's a bad book, because it's not. I really did enjoy it. It's just like fine. Like, I read it and I enjoyed parts of each character and I disliked parts of each character. Like July was very combative, and so I had more difficulty like liking her, but I saw where she was coming from towards the end. And Dino I liked more towards the beginning, but then he does some stupid stuff that I'm not going to say because of spoilers, and it's like, can you just like get yourself together? And so In the end, it didn't really pull any like strings, and so I only gave it 3 stars. So the next book that I read for Spookathon is The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. It is the second book in the Truly Devious series. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. Like, I definitely liked it more than I liked Truly Devious. Truly Devious I gave 3 stars. And this one just felt more like a complete story to me. Like, Truly Devious felt like a beginner, like the foundation to a series. This one felt like its own book that also happened to be in a series. You feel me? Anyways, it's about a girl named Stevie who's accepted to an exclusive school called Ellingham Academy. And the reason that she goes there is because she wants to be a detective. And the school is the location of one of the most famous American mysteries of all time, where the man who ran and made the school, his wife and daughter were kidnapped. His wife was then murdered, but no one ever found out where his daughter was. And so the school runs on kind of like students learn based on what they want to do in life. And so she's going exclusively to try to solve the Ellingham disappearances. This one was much more, like I said, it's much more in-depth, I feel, than the first one. It felt like its own solid book. And I was really excited because I barely ever read mysteries, and even then when I read mysteries, I only find out who did it when the main character like says it. I'm not like great at figuring out mysteries, but I guessed who kidnapped her. It's revealed in this book. I'm not gonna spoil it who it is, but I guessed. I realized before she even said, the clue that really brought it around came up, and I was like, oh my god, it was this person. And then literally later in the chapter she goes, it was this person, and I was like, I figured it out. Oh my god. I mean, there's so much more after that. There's still a whole bunch of stuff that is still left unsaid, but the fact that I figured out who kidnapped them originally made me feel real happy. Real happy. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars is that I felt like the beginning was less so than Truly Devious, but still a little bit, was very slow, and it was only about a little before halfway that the real meat of the book started. The part before that I still really enjoyed, but it still took a little bit too long before the really important stuff started to happen. You feel me? I'm just gonna keep saying you feel me, and it's gonna be ridiculous. But yeah. And the last book that I read for the month was Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. I finished this. I started this during Spookathon, but I didn't finish it until after it had... I started this during Spookathon. Bleh. I started this during Spookathon, but I didn't finish it until after it ended, but I still finished it during this month. Woohoo for me. So this is listed as 4 stars on my Goodreads, but I really gave it a 3.5. I did enjoy it. It was very spooky, and the entire time I was on the edge of my seat. And this is probably just a me thing, once again, as I said during the Vanishing Stair. I'm not good at mysteries, and I'm especially not really that good at keeping track of things. So there are characters that will disappear during this, or things that happen that you kind of have to be on top of your game about it. and I just could not keep track of them. So a lot of this was me being a little bit confused until it was explained in like 2 chapters down the road. So Rules for Vanishing is the story of a girl named Sarah who lives in a town where there is a rumor of a ghost named Lucy Gallows, who one night of the year a road appears and you can go down this road into another world and try to meet Lucy Gallows. And the year before, her sister, Becca. And the year before, her sister Becca goes down the road and disappears. And so her and a group of her friends go down the road in order to find and save her sister. It was good. It was spooky. The ending was all over the place. And another reason why this was only a 3.5 stars for me was because I didn't like the ending. I'm not gonna say why I didn't like the ending because it's very much a spoiler. But just didn't like it. Not because it was bad, just because I didn't want it to end that way, really. But the characters are solid. I really enjoyed Sarah's storyline. I also really enjoyed her love interest, Mel, which, speaking of, let me pause. This entire month, I was really, really lucky because I like to read books with LGBTQ plus representation, and this month I was like not even trying to like read, like I wasn't seeking out to read them, but every single book that I read had some representation and I wasn't even expecting it, which great. So anyways, 3.5 stars. It was good. Probably rated it lower because I'm not the best when it comes to keeping track of mysteries, and I didn't really like the ending, but I do recommend it. I think it's good. I especially think it's good if you like spooky stories or you're in the mood for a spooky story. So yeah, Rules for Vanishing. So that's the end of this monthly wrap-up. As always, I'm going to have a link to vote down in the description, but along with that, I'm also going to have a link to a petition. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the petition I'm going to put in is for something I really believe in. It's for a girl named Alissa who's been missing for a long time, and it's basically, we have proof that her father abused and murdered her, and but no one will go forth with his case, and so her sister is putting together this petition in order for her to get justice. If you want more information about that, I'm also going to include a video from Kendall Rae, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, which goes through the entire story. It also includes the sister in that video, so if you want to watch that before you sign it, go ahead. But if you could sign it, I'd be really appreciative. We need to get justice for this poor girl. Other than that, though, other than that, I will see you in my next video, hopefully. Bye for now.